Coach, please tell us a little bit about the game from your perspective.
It was a good game. Two great teams, good basketball. We played a very good game. We got the energy on the first two quarters. Toward the end, the third last quarter, we started to crack, and that was it. Yeah.
As a team, it was the kids, NBA Academy kids. So their energy was, we couldn't match the energy on the third quarter. So that's it. We just got tired, as coach said. That's it.
For me, it's a learning experience. And I believe what I've learned from here, we go put it into implement, and I promise when we come again next time, I will give a good shot to ourselves. Now, the learning process is all about scouting our opponent, planning, and then executing. So I believe for me as a coach and together as the team, we have a lot to work. Yes.
And finally,
So KPA lost today. It's just embarrassing. NBA Academy, they beat KPA 84-69. So as per the recording of this video, it's the day. It's just a few hours after the game, and I'm releasing it the following day. The power outage is really killing, but stop any uploads. But anyway, KPA have lost 3 games straight. There was a bit of hope. The KPA side thought that they were going to beat NBA Academy Africa, which is something that it was just laughable. And when I watched this game, I just knew that from the onset, KPA were just going to choke away this game. I just saw they started out hot. It was pretty good, 33-point first quarter. Then moving on to the second, heads just dropped. I just saw the scoring just went below. It was just subpar. It was uphill. Despite the hot start, second quarter, they only scored 14 points. The whole team, and they got outscored by the NBA Academy. At the first half, you could just see this game was a bit close, but in the start of the second half, start of the third quarter, just started off horrible, terrible. Quarter Q3 was just abysmal, especially for the KPA side scoring wise. They only scored 7. A quarter low 7 points, and NBA Africa scored 25, which was pretty depressing, especially if you're supporting KPA. They started off in a mean streak in the first quarter, but has just dropped in the second half. In the third quarter, they just blew it, and in the fourth, they tried the last hitch efforts, but it was too little, too late, because the hole that they dug themselves in, they just couldn't recover, and they lost this game, 84-69. You couldn't even, say like the KPA side had a chance, okay, based on what the first quarter. But if you look at the whole game, the way it played out, you could just see like the deficiencies, the cracks that they had in their offense. They had so many holes in their offense. They're so wide open on defense. A good team in any good day can beat them. Some players there are not even aware of, how to finish a game. They start off on a mean streak, and they don't even have the awareness to know they're in a deficit and they need to cut the deficit when they need a 3. There are no get-a-bucket guys. There's no clear number 1, 2, or 3 option in that team, or even number 4 option. Don't even know who the get-a-bucket guys are in that team. So this just accentuated like the whole performance. And if you look at even the usual suspects, you're seeing Ken Washira, he played 26 minutes. He had actually a pretty good game. He's one of 2 players who scored 15 points or more. He had 21 points, 46% shooting from the field. He couldn't make 2-point field goals. He was 0 for 3. But from deep, all of his shots just came from deep. And 7 of 12, so 58%. It was pretty awesome to see him, go lights out like that, especially at the first. But it wasn't enough. His 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. A plus-minus for -3. Then we've got Christopher Brady, another guy who played heavy minutes. He played 39 total minutes, and this man You could just see he was one of the guys that was a bit carrying the offense a bit in the game. Looking at the way the game played out, in the first you could see he was knocking down those threes, but I mean in the second half, just near absent. You couldn't even see him. He had 15 points, 6 of 15 shooting, 3 of 5 from 2-point field goals, 3 of 10 from deep. Only those are the only threes that he made in the first quarter. So 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. I mean, plus minus for minus 12. I mean, he shot 40%. He played heavy minutes, man. It was just horrendous anyway for the rest of the team, because the guy with the most negative plus minus, Nicolas Ogol, 17 minutes played, 4 points, 20% shooting from the field, 25% from deep, from 2-point field goals, 0 for 1 from deep. He tried a free throw. He tried not a free throw. He tried to shoot a 3-point field goal, but it didn't go in. But in the free throw line, he only went once. He scored twice. And the funny thing is, no player here even drew a foul. Nicolas was the only guy who went to the line. The other guys didn't even go to the line. I mean, it was just pretty funny to me. And I mean, John Widgers, 25 minutes played, 3 points. 25% shooting, 1 of 4, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block. And, that's just about it. The other guys just got Sito Makamba, 4 points, Lennox, 5 points. Dennis, Adwolf, Koja, 4 points. Phil Toby, he only had 5 points. Franklin Omondi, 21 minutes played, 6 points. He was actually a turnover machine, because he had 6 turnovers. Nico Gol had 4 turnovers. Kennedy Oshiro 3 turnovers. But Franklin was just abysmal. 6 turnovers. He's a turnover machine, and he had 3 fouls. So really much a liability on offense. But if you look at the NBA Academy side, you can see, man, these guys just knew what they were doing on the court. You could just see the flashes of what they knew. They knew what they were doing. Got Thierry Serge Darlan. He 30 minutes played, 25 points, 33% shooting. He didn't have an efficient night, especially shooting wise, because from deep he only out of 14 attempts he only made 1 3, which was, oh man, it's just horrendous. They didn't have the best game, but you could just see they knew what they were doing. You could see the players that they just knew what they were doing in there. Then you've got Malwatch, 29 minutes played, 14 points, 55% shooting. And Malwatch, he was 1 rebound shy from a double-double. And but shooting-wise, you could see, it was just sad. You could look at even the KPA side. At some point in the first quarter, you could just see it was KPA just dominating. Then KPA just let this let this game go. Shooting wise, it wasn't the best. Honestly, it wasn't. Especially for both teams, you could just see both teams were really struggling. 38% shooting for the NBA Africa side, 40% shooting. Even though shooting, it was just near league average, but you could just see both teams really struggled to score the basketball. But you could see even despite the size that you can see KPA had, they have a couple of guys who are 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet. They're not able to rebound, young kids in the NBA Africa team. 47 total rebounds for NBA Africa, and KPA only had 38. It was just sad, points, fast break points. KPA lost that to NBA Africa. 25 fast break points from the NBA Africa. 20 second chance points in the paint. The NBA Africa team just feasted. In the paint, 32 points, and points from the bench. You could just see. It was just an NBA Academy team, an NBA Academy affair that they were just dominating it. They had a total of 11 blocks. You just couldn't script this anyway, because man, NBA Africa just really, really toyed with us. They toyed with KPA. I mean, they took them for a ride. KPA had 23 turnovers and 12 personal fouls. The sharing the rock for both teams was just on it was just on an equal rate. But you can even look at like the way like they came out. You could just see the NBA Africa team were much more coordinated. There were 4 lead changes in this game. I mean, it was just horrendous. Sometimes I just ask myself when I look at these games, because sometimes I just take a step back to just reflect. Are we even ready to compete even in the BAL? Did you even have like a priority to compete in the BAL? Because given like the recent outings that I've witnessed in the KPA side, the only game that they won was the BAL club. Out of a span of 5 games, they have a 1-4 record. And looking at the future, I don't think KPA, even if they win the KBF title and go back to back, I don't think that they'll be able to rectify what they need to do so that they can get better, given the allotted time frame. So honestly, we'll just have to be honest with ourselves and just focus on a full-on rebuild, and even just keep BAL off our minds, or even KPA should just keep it off their minds, because at this point in time they're just not ready for it. The teams that are ready, you could just see that they're playing because they're ready for it. But KPA currently constructed, they are not ready, and I didn't even fancy their chances in making it past the Elite 16 based on the way they prepared for it. I could see flashes of weaknesses, especially when they played Course PN. I just saw, although that game ended, it was a 6-point spread, the game ended 66-60, but I just saw like some deficiencies that they had. Even if the roster was a bit tweaked, even the way they tweaked the roster, even in this time, I just knew there's a choke job left. Because even if you look at the games, all the way starting from the Eurunani game, I just knew KP are just going to blow it. There was no chance KP are going to beat Cape Town Tigers. I knew that from the get-go. So I just knew it was just a matter of time. Even when they draw, and I saw that we were pooled with Cape Town Tigers, Eurunani, and NBA Africa, I just knew. I mean, I just knew KP are just going to be a resume builder team, and I mean, they should just go back to KBF and just focus on going back to back, because even if they focus on even going back to back, they just give that slot to another team that can be able to do it, because the closest that KPA has were to make the BL, the inaugural BL season was in 2019, but they missed that game against City Oilers. So, I mean, in the last 3 slots, we were positioned in a way that we were this close to making it to, securing one of the last 3 slots left in the BL, but looks like KPA didn't want it. And even if you look at the body language that the KPA side, exhibited, they just showed that they just didn't want to be there. They just had a quit game. You could just see people just walking. It's pretty spineless to see players, just walking, especially in your centers who are supposed to be like your first line of defense, especially when the other team is on offense, just walking back casually. So you could see you can't teach heart to these people. You can't teach desire. You can't teach passion. You can't teach, fight, grit. And I just believe if there was another team, they would have done things differently. And having a local, mindset when you're going into a very like competitive stage like the road to BAL, FIBA, you have to have a way. You have to find a way to be able to be clinical and win the game. Because right now, you could just see teams that know how to win and teams that construct players and have players in the roster who know how to win is pretty vital for this situation, because you have to know how to position your players to win. And I don't think KPA, they know how to play basketball, but they don't know how to play winning basketball. So that's the issue. And they don't even know who their first option is. You could just see a situation where players are passing up wide open threes. Players in the post, you could see someone looking to give away the ball, and the ball is at the post instead of working the post. And I mean, it just goes to show you, like, even the basketball IQ, man, has really dropped. You could just see some players, it's like they're afraid they cited like you run a game, you could see they cited like stage fright or something. Their players were a bit jumpy. They had happy feet. You could see like it's like they didn't know what they were doing in there. Then in the second game against Cape Town Tigers, that's when some of their confidence came, but it wasn't enough. They discovered they had confidence very late in the game and they lost. And this time, a game that they thought that they could win, they got battered by academy kids who are trying out for the BAL in the class. They're trying out for the BL for the first time and they're trying out for the NBA. So it goes to show you like the level of talent. Doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're old or young, as long as you have basketball intangibles and you're skilled, you can be able to beat anyone. And that's what the NBA academy team showed, and they wanted it more, and they're going to go places. But if you look back at a team like KPA, you should just focus on playing KBF basketball and playing local basketball, because road to BL it has just proven like a very, very tough challenge for them, and I don't think they can be able to overcome this given their allotted time frame. And unfortunately, anyone who was supporting them, it must be lost, because if you've been looking at the stats and you're looking at the footage of how these people play, you know that even if they're up by 10, they'll just easily blow that 10-point lead, and they'll just do it, especially in the second half. This is a trend that I've seen even in Kenyan teams. Even the national team has the same syndrome. The second half syndrome. They don't know how to finish the game. They start off the game strong in the first 20 minutes. They don't know how to play high-intensity basketball and not overexert themselves and overcommit in the first, and be able to preserve their legs in the second. And fouling too much, players are just fouling. You could just see some players even fouling out. They're not even playing the fourth quarter because they've racked up so many fouls they cost the team when they're playing. So still a lot left. Sometimes you even ask, what are these people even doing in training? Because it's just pathetic sometimes. So KPA should just focus on going back to playing KBF basketball, because that's what they're good at, and to just shelve any road to BL. Any road to BL aspirations, you just shelve them completely, because as the team is constructed right now, even with the players that the mercenaries that they put on the squad, they just did not have any winning DNA in them. So they didn't even. Of course, they were impactful in the stat sheet, but just putting up empty stats, and they were not able to get the job done when it mattered. Getting a win when it matters is what counts. So that's one thing that they failed to do, and there's one thing that they don't know how to do. So yeah, I'll just do just try to give you guys some updates on what I've been seeing unfolding. And man, if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comment section. What you think about KPA, what you think about the road to BAL. Was it exciting? Did it hit your expectations? And make sure you leave your feedback, man. And subscribe to the channel, turn on notification posts so that you never miss any new videos I'm coming out with. And I'm out. Peace.